Hello and welcome to this Automation Academy Mastering the Machine webinar for the 29th of March 2024. Today's topic was the Automation Academy itself, a little behind the scenes look and a look at what it looks like for somebody to log in and access some of the different files and videos in there. Hope you enjoy it. Good morning, folks, and welcome to the 72nd Mastering the Machine webinar, hosted by the Automation Academy, and today's subject is the Automation Academy. I'm going to give you a little tour, show you what it's like inside, and a little bit of the technology stack that makes it up. And this is a little different type of episode, so I usually explain what the Automation Academy is in the beginning, but of course you're going to see all this inside. It is a membership site that I built on several different platforms about 4 years ago. It contains training videos for Allen Bradley, Siemens, Beckhoff, and Omron PLCs, some job and aptitude assistance, systems integration tips, a library of downloadable documents and software, a community IO Central that is rarely visited, but occasionally people do pop up there and make comments, things like that. And we do have these Mastering the Machine webinars about every 3 weeks to a month. I think the next one's going to be almost a month away. So why did I start this? 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago, we had a tornado come through my area, and I had a facility where I was doing in-person training, and the tornado kind of ended that, and then COVID started a couple of weeks later. And that ended a lot of my travel, which I was traveling and teaching PLC classes and things like that. So I came up with the idea during those 4 months of establishing some kind of a website where I could do online training, try to have more of an online presence. Before that, I really didn't do much in the way of website maintenance. I had a blog and things like that, but really didn't do much in the way of online activities. I did have some recorded material and had done some video recording for another company here in the Nashville area, but really didn't have any idea how to build a website like the Automation Academy. So about August of that year, I started working on it, and I released it in November of 2020. So at the end of November, and it's been going now for about 3.5 years. The general idea behind it is I do a lot of PLC training, but there's always all kinds of other things that are involved besides PLCs. And so I've listed some of those here. I put out a document called The Building Blocks of Industrial Automation. It is downloadable from the site. And some of these ideas are presented in the Automation Academy itself and in that document. But the basic idea is, well, to get into PLCs, you need to know something about electricity and electronics, general maintenance and troubleshooting. I've written a book on that. That's downloadable from the site. Motion control and robotics enter into it a lot of times. Machine vision, things like that. Machine and system design, which is where I've spent most of my career, designing machinery and writing programs for industrial automation. OEE and Lean Six Sigma enters into it if you work into a plant. I got my Six Sigma certification back in about 2011. Got my green belt as part of that to learn a little bit more of the plant floor and business aspect of it. And of course, instructional and course design, which is a lot of what I do now. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit of the Automation Academy. I'm going to use a different computer to present what you would see if you were a customer, and then I'm going to use this computer to show you a little bit of the behind the scenes part, how the technology stack is built. So this is what you would see if you access my website directly here, and you would see this join or log in, and if you click on the Academy without logging in, I think if you go to dashboard here, for instance, you will get this message here saying you can't log in. So then you can always go back, and if you hit login, there are some anti-spam measures here. You can see I've preloaded Paul Gold, and Paul Gold is a test entity that I have here so that I can see what it's like to log in as somebody else besides an administrative account. So there is this little CAPTCHA here, very simple, and you put in, hopefully you can do simple math, and I can say, remember me, and I will be quickly logged in. So it gives you a little greeting here, tells you who you are, all that good stuff. And this looks very much like any entry screen. You can see today's webinar advertised here. You can see what's new, and then lots of portals into the different entry resource places. You can see a little Academy tour here. This is what that looks like. Kind of gives you a little, I'm not sure if you can hear the audio here, but this gives you a little tour of the Academy, just kind of showing you where everything is. And of course, this I believe is on YouTube also. How can you get around the site? There is a downloadable map. So this kind of tells you where everything is. I try to keep this up to date, but it's not really super up to date. Anytime you open any of these things, it will give you the location of where you're opening it from, and then hopefully open it in a separate tab. But a lot of times, if it opens it in the same tab, what you need to do is hit the back button. And I'll kind of show you how that works when we get to it. It is divided into different sections, as you can see here: career, education, library, and forums. The career is basically a set of goals, right? You define what your goals are, what your interests are, this sort of thing. A lot of this comes from the Ken Coleman platform. He wrote a book called The Proximity Principle, and he's regular on one of the Ramsey Show programs. And he talks about careers and things. And of course, that's an important part of what I do. I really appreciate what I do here in automation. I really feel very fortunate to have ended up in this field. So this would bring you to this goals section, and you can define what your goal is. View the lesson here, right? This is included with any of the memberships. So we do have gold, silver, and platinum memberships. The gold gives you access to everything, effectively all the videos and all the downloads and things. The platinum is the same thing, but it has half-hour consulting sessions with me. I can either do training or help you with your goals and things like that, or give you pointers in programming, whatever it is. So you can see here that Paul Gold has never logged into this, but if you say take this course, you will end up in all these different sections here, and you can click on any one of them and you will end up watching little videos and things like that. There's some worksheets, things like that. When you get done with any of these course sections, then you simply mark it as complete. Worksheets on what do you like to do, that sort of thing, things you like to do most. And then what these do, so this is a case of one of the things that opened and that you need to hit the back button, right? You can download it or save it, or you can just hit the back button and it will go back to it. So passion, realism, talent. Reality is, so for instance, you want to go to MIT and you don't have a scholarship there, that would cost a whole heck of a lot of money. So it helps you evaluate the reality of, you live in Pakistan or somewhere, your chances of coming to the US for school are fairly slim. So this kind of covers a lot of that. Then figuring out what your passion, talent, and mission is, and defining your goal, and then moving on to your path, right? You have to do this in order, right? So you will go back and I'll enter a different way here. Go back one more. So once you're into the learning management system, which is part of the platform, then if you want to get back to, let's see, main screen, you can get back to the dashboard this way. You're still going to be logged in, hopefully. I've been hitting back, and hopefully it remembers that you're logged in. But anyway, you can always get back by hitting this. And then if you wanted to, enter a different field, right, you can click on any one of these. So you could go back into that career section, or you could go into the different courses. So this explains how to use the videos. There's really a lot of different ways to use these different types of videos. So I have some, for instance, actually you can just come down here and you'd be in the same section. You can take one of these Odyssey courses, and the Odyssey courses are literally, I just start a program and you just follow along, right? If you have the software like ControlLogix 5000 or the Omron software, which is downloadable right from here in the library, it's free. You can download the Sysmac software, CX1, and you can use that to learn Omron PLCs. You can watch this, and it's just me starting a program and how to format things and how the addressing works and all that kind of thing. The basic PLC programming is out of my PLC and hardware multi-platform book. It talks about generic PLC programming, how do bits work, how do timers work, things like that. Again, Siemens Step 7 is just me starting a program in Step 7, which is the old platform for Siemens. RS Logic, same kind of thing. FactoryTalk View ME programming. This is an actual course on how to create screens and that sort of thing. So anything that says Odyssey is not really a formal course, whereas if I go to a formal course like this, and you can see it says continue study because I've actually logged in before. It is a formal course. It has quizzes for every section, and you have to pass the quiz before you can move on to the next section. And each one of these courses go through, for instance, videos and explain all this good stuff. Give you a little sample here. This does stream directly from Vimeo, which is where it's hosted. So pretty easy to see all this good stuff. And there's my ugly mug explaining how all this stuff works. And let's see, scroll forward. It's very basically a pretty slow-paced course. This gives a little bit of the history of where the hardware came from. Talks about all the different MicroLogix platforms. Of course, you can download, I have different excerpts from my book here in the library, and you can download any one of these and you would get all these and how all that good stuff works. So that's just a kind of a taste of how the courses work in here. Of course, you can start and stop any of this stuff as you go anytime. And once again, easiest way to get back is to hit the back button until you get this header. And this is a feature of some of the technology. You have a learning management system in here, and once you enter that, a lot of this header goes away because you're in the LMS itself, which is a different plugin. There's probably a way to make this header still appear on the top, but honestly, it takes up a lot of space. So it's better that it doesn't if you're watching videos and things like that. So once you enter here and you have a video popped up, it's good if that takes up most of the screen. So that's a little bit of a look at the courses. Of course, under education, you also have all of the webinars, and you can get to the webinars also from the main screen. So if I'm in the dashboard and I say view all webinars, this is what those look like, right? So you can see there's quite a few of them here going all the way back to August 2020. I actually opened this website in November of 2020, but I did do some kind of practice webinars earlier than that. And there's anywhere from 1, 2, or even 3 webinars for each of these months. So you can see a lot of those here, older entries. And I did them on all kinds of different subjects, did some Beckhoff, did a lot of interviews with other people. So some of these webinars are kind of interesting. And of course, a lot of these webinars are on YouTube also, but this is a little different presentation of it. Now, as far as the library is concerned, the library, there are some pictures and things like that, right? You can look at machinery and control panels, some kind of funny things. Fails, I don't even remember what's in fails. Oh, bad wiring, lots of bad wiring, hot terminal. Let's see, it's hard to tell what some of that is, but you can open it up and look. Oh, there's a glowing bolt. So you can grab any of these that you want to actually copy them from the screen. That's just some pictures and things. Again, best way to get back to this is either hit the back button or just go back to the library and get to the main screen here, photo galleries or whatever. So these are all the different downloads. And I've noticed that one of the reasons I had to switch computers here is if I'm logged into WordPress and acting as an administrator, I can't open a lot of these files. So let's see here, Alan Bradley. You can see I've got CompactLogix, ControlLogix platforms. I've got some downloads of some software here. This is an old file, the MicroLogix 500 Lite file. This is actually free Alan Bradley software, and they no longer make it available. But this would allow you to program the old MicroLogix for free and at least create programs. And if you can get a hold of a MicroLogix 1000 or an 1100, you could actually have the free software for it. But they no longer make that available, and both the 1000 and the 1100 are obsolete now. Motion Analyzer, that's another one that's really hard to find online. Let's see, the free software I told you about from Omron is here. And this is an RAR file. And the password is PLC4me, which is where I got this from. And they made it available to anybody who wanted to download it. I don't know if you can still get it there. And I'm not really strictly sure that this is a legitimate copy, but it does run. And if you type in PLC4me, it does work. So you can get that from there. Beckhoff, I do have the course manual, which I just published. There's actually a newer version of this. And this is one of those cases where, like I said, it's hosted on AWS, and you can open it here, or you could hit the download button, right? Save it, read it, do whatever you want to. There's a lot of what that looks like. You could print it, use it for yourself. This will teach you pretty much how to get started in Beckhoff, everything you need to know from a low level, timers and counters, that sort of thing. Again, best way to get back is simply hit the back button, and you'll be right back to where you started from here. So lots of different files. As I showed you, there's about 150 files on my spreadsheet for this. Acronyms and definitions, I try to update this fairly regularly. This has all kinds of fun stuff on it, what a lot of these terms mean. So I would advise anybody to download this. You know, if you've ever wondered what Node-RED or a LIMS system is, or MES, ERP, some of those things. What is a CMMS? Different programming languages, apps.NET. So this is definitions of lots and lots of different things. Again, all these are PDFs. You can download them and read them at your leisure. Make great bathroom reading, right? So lots and lots of material. For some reason, this one opened in a separate tab. So here I can go back without, I'm not really sure what the difference is. I don't know that it's on this end because these are hosted, as I mentioned, at AWS. Let's take a look here. Microcontrollers, a bunch of different comparisons here from different places. Microcontrollers versus PLCs. What's the difference between an Arduino and a Raspberry Pi? Microcontroller versus PLC from Automation Direct. They have a whole lot of microcontroller based PLCs even. some robotic stuff, Epson software. You can download that. I don't have any training material on that, but I mean to put something together in the future. Some things on sensors, very general stuff. A lot of this is stuff that I've written. So my maintenance and troubleshooting book, for instance, which lists for somewhere around 55 or 60 bucks, I broke this into 26 different documents, and you can get any one of the sections of the book separately as a PDF. So for instance, you want to know what machine vision is. This was extracted from my book, and it's just that section. And this is actually pretty convenient if you just have one thing you want to learn. This will tell you the basics of what you would want to know about that, about the lighting, the different types of software they have and the tools that they use within it. And I kind of renumbered all the figures and everything and made it like a separate, completely separate document. And it gives you a good overview for those of you who don't know how machine vision works. An overview of that. And then, of course, you could get a hold of some Cognex software and do simulation yourself. Once again, this one opened in the same tab. So you would simply hit go back, and there you would be. I've got some CAD stuff. I've got an original install of SketchUp. SketchUp used to be just a free thing. You can probably still get it from, I believe Google bought it. But now you can install it as a separate thing. I think it only runs online currently. And then there's a whole bunch of different CAD samples, some stuff on communications, psychometric practice tests. This was connected to the education, the passion, all this career stuff, right? Goals, path, resources. This actually, you take these tests and it kind of tells you what you're good at. So that's kind of a neat thing. I think there's a bunch of them in here, a bunch of different tests, right? Test 1 through test 16. And these are all practice tests. And you can learn a lot about yourself and how good you are at different aspects of different techniques. PID, closed loop systems. I have a full version 33 RS Logix 5000 simulation program, and a FactoryTalk View PID simulation, explain how all that stuff works, give you a full write-up on closed loop systems and PID control, and then it has a little test, and then the test answers are actually posted in here too. So there's kind of a lot of different things in here. And I do have a video, if you go into the education part of this, so we'll go back and look at that real quick. It's pretty easy to navigate this site. Like I said, here's courses, and see if you go into PID control, you will find, right, videos and things like that. So a little different presentation here as far as the video is concerned. This one's a little calmer than most of them. It doesn't have the kind of rock music there. And this is actually, right, I actually used FactoryTalk View ME, and I used a simulation program in FactoryTalk or RS Logix 5000 Studio, and created these screens, and it runs on the simulation. So this is the simulation itself. It makes you go back to the previous lesson. So, but you can always mark it as complete, right? Then take the test, PID instruction, and simulation. And I think you can play it now. There we go. So if you just mark the previous lesson complete, this will let you go through it. And so part of the reason I have to host these on Vimeo is because if you had multiple people streaming this at once, it would be really hard to do that from a site like mine, right? And I believe this shows a bit of the simulation itself and how I programmed it. So you can see here, there's FactoryTalk View Studio. That's how I created this, and I do give you that program. And then this is how the program works, how all the simulation works. All right, so I kind of give you a step-by-step explanation of the software, and then how to export the data to Excel, which is more effective than actually using the trending that we have back here. right? This is the trend, right? So that's just a little bit of that particular course. So you can see again here, you don't have the header, but if you keep hitting back, you end up eventually back at a place where you can get at the header. All the videos avoid having the header, but now you're back into the basic part of the course, and now you have back to this. So it's easy to get to everything in here. So that's the library. Everything's downloadable from the library. These are the courses, which includes webinars. There are a bunch of applications here, right? I did, actually, there's only 2-3 applications here. I believe there are some downloads explaining some of the applications, but this is more like, again, applications from member requests. Some people have asked about this before. Well, anyway, that's a look at this site. If you click on this, you end up in IO Central, and I don't have Paul's. Let's see if his password works. I'm not a robot. Log in. We'll see what Paul's thing looks at. This is save password. Sure, why not? So again, this is an area that people don't log into very often. So you can see here 1 month, 1 week ago. A lot of people actually have mentioned some things here. You cannot create new discussions. That has to do with spam and as much as anything else. Let's see, Mastering the Machine webinar. We'll see what this says. Cannot reply. I'm not sure why that is. I'll have to look into that. If you register directly on IO Central, you would be able to talk on all these different things. In any case, that is a little bit of a look at the Automation Academy. And if you keep going back, well, of course, we're back this way. So go back to the dashboard. And that's pretty much that. And we'll move back over to the other computer for the rest of the presentation. Thanks. So this, again, is what you would see if you were to just run into my website, which is automationllc.com. There is a little scrolling screen. My daughter owns a company that does branding and maintains websites, and she helped put this together. And this is what you would see without having this little bar up here, which is a WordPress toolbar. And of course, so I'm looking at this as somebody who is logged in to WordPress. And so behind the scenes, I would open this up and I would be in the dashboard. And so what you see here is all this stuff over on the left, which gets you into the different pages and things like that. The quickest way to get to a page from a maintenance standpoint is actually to go back to the site itself, as I was just there, and go to the Academy. And let's say I wanted to edit a page or something. So I would go to the dashboard, which is what you saw when somebody logs in. And you can see here that I'm logged in here. And then if I wanted to edit this page, I would go up here and click Edit Page. And I would be in a specific plugin of WordPress here. And this is called Divi, and it's just a kind of a screen builder. And I didn't choose this. I had a different platform, but my daughter used this a lot. She used Divi when developing websites for other people. And it's, WordPress in general is a little bit kludgy. You can see this coming up here and kind of moving the screen. And, you get in there and then you think you're in and you're ready to start editing. And then all of a sudden it goes through this little series here. And then we're into this. So if I wanted to edit the current message for today, you can see that this is what was shown on the front screen, which was my post from March 24th. which was last weekend. And I kind of tell what I'm doing. And if I wanted to change that, I would change the date and edit this. And I only edit little parts of it. And if I want to back out of editing, then I go into this. If I want to edit when the next Zoom webinar is going to be, you can see this one here, right? Then I would simply change the date, put the new time in there, and then say okay. And I would be in there, and then I would have to hit update, and that would update the screen. Some of the different plugins that are here. So WooCommerce is a plugin that allows you to accept payments and track orders and things like that. And I think it was originally installed when I was selling trainers and Fisher Technique components and things like that before the tornado and before COVID. I had set this up as kind of a portal and then kept it. And that allows people to pay by credit card, sign up for a subscription or whatever, and track all that stuff. MemberPress is one of the plugins. It's part of the stack. And this is the thing that keeps track of the members and allows you to assign member levels. And so if I want to look at the specific members, I have to do this every week to delete all the spammers that hack into this and manage to create a membership. It's not like a paid membership. They don't have access to the Academy, but because IO Central is open and anybody can join it, there is an automated way that people kind of get in the door and they just throw a bunch of information on there and they link to bad websites like, porn sites or hacking sites or different things like that. And so I have to go in there and manually delete those every week or so. It happens every day, literally hundreds of these, and you have to go clear them out manually. I think there's a way to do it automatically, but when I get done with these webinars, they are here under posts. So if I go all posts and I'll say discard and exit since I didn't really change anything, and you will see this switch to the actual posts. And then, so this was the last webinar, which was on CodeAssist. And if I wanted to edit this, then I would simply open it up and hit quick edit. And you can see all this. I really don't know how to change this. You can see it's not like Excel where I would drag this and make it all wider. But I just deal with it as it is. But if I wanted to duplicate this, then you can see here, you can probably barely see it. I could duplicate it and then get in and edit it. So I'm just going to hit quick edit here, and you'll see a little bit of what behind the scenes it kind of looks like. And this allows me to change the title, what they call a slug, which is just a kind of a shortcut to the page, and when it was, and allow comments and all that kind of thing. The only people that can comment on these webinars are people in here anyway, who are already members. So I don't have to protect it from spammers or anything. If I hit regular edit, then I get into what these webinar posts actually look like. So every time I do one of these webinars, I have to duplicate this and then write up a little bit. Let's see, it'll come up here. It kind of freezes and does its thing, and you'll see up here it's not actually logged in it yet, so it'll do it twice, and you don't want to get in a hurry. But I will edit the slug here. So this is the permalink, right? I'll change that. I'll change the title. I will change the text, right? So this just kind of describes what it was about. And then I will swap the video out. So the videos themselves are hosted on Vimeo, and they are duplicated on YouTube. So if you're seeing this on YouTube, the first thing I do when I create a webinar is I post it to YouTube, and then I send it to Vimeo also in a higher resolution, and then link to the Vimeo file here. So all you have to do is, if I wanted to say change this, it would say link to an existing video, and then it would link to the Vimeo, which is private and can only be accessed from the Automation LLC website. That's how a lot of this works. All of the library things that you saw before are hosted on AWS, They are in things called buckets, and only, again, this website can link to those. So anybody who's a member, basically they log in, they're on this website, and then they can download anything or look at any of the videos on Vimeo because they're linked directly to that. So that's a little bit more about some of the plugins and things like that. Some of these things like forums have been replaced by IO Central, and IO Central is written on something called BuddyBoss, and BuddyBoss is another plugin here, but it's actually on a kind of a subsite. So that's how that works. But you can see here over on the left all the different plugins, right? That's the editing plugin. Bloom, I'm not really sure what that is. It's some kind of a forms place, and I think it keeps track of email, things like that. MemberPress, as I mentioned. LearnDash, so the learning management system, this is that. So if I want to edit any of the things that were in the education section, any of the videos, then I would, again, upload them to Vimeo and host them there, and then link to the Vimeo page from here. So you've kind of seen some of the different links and things that I have in those locations. I'm going to go ahead and open something else here, see if I can find it over in my Excel spreadsheets. There we go. So another thing that I have is this, which is a list of all of the Vimeo webinars and things, and all of the other files, right? So PyPlates videos, things like that, Alan Bradley, and this is where they are. And so they're all kind of private, but there's a list of all those. And then all of the AWS documents are here. And you can see here, I have 150 just the documents in the library, and this is their location in AWS. And I'm not too worried about people seeing this because they can't access them. It's restricted to only people coming from this website. So that's kind of how they protect all that. But here's all the PLC files that you saw before, all those different things, machinery, directive. There are a whole lot of files in there, as you saw when I logged in as Paul Gold before. So that's a bit of a look at the behind the scenes of the Automation Academy. Back to, right, these PowerPoints, which is how I do these webinars. This is kind of where we left off on the PowerPoints. And this is only a few pages, and I have to create this, of course, every time I do one of these webinars on different subjects. I will create the PowerPoint, use the first few pages are pretty much the same thing, and then edit it and save it as a new file. So at that juncture, this is the end of the webinar. The next webinar will be on April 26th, best I can tell anyway, and the topic will be Advanced HMI. Advanced HMI is a Visual Basic plugin that I've been using to create basically HMIs that can link to either virtual PLCs or real PLCs using Alan Bradley equipment mostly, because if I'm doing Codesys or Beckhoff, I have the visualizations, and I'm generally teaching people how to do the visuals also. As a note to this, my Beckhoff book is released. It is downloadable from the Automation Academy, but it is also, if somebody wanted a physical copy, you can purchase it from me. You would have to kind of make special arrangements. It is not for sale to the public, unlike my other books, which are published on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, things like that. I didn't have permission from Beckhoff to use a lot of their pictures and things, so I had to create it just as a training manual, which totally legal to put pictures of things if you're just using it for training. It's kind of like putting things on PowerPoints here. But it's not for sale to the general public for that reason. And it's really more of a course manual anyway, very specific to my teaching of Beckhoff classes. But in any case, yes, Advanced HMI is the Visual Basic plugin that I use to create HMIs, and they have drivers for Omron PLCs and OPC and all kinds of different things. And they do have all the Allen Bradley drivers. So they spend a lot of time explaining how to connect to Allen Bradley processors. Nice thing about Advanced HMI, and I'll explain all that in the next webinar, is it is totally free. They do have some widgets that you can buy that you pay anywhere from $3, $2, something like that, meters and different things that you put on your screens. But it is totally free, and a lot of the items that you need to create an HMI are there without you paying anything. So really neat platform, and I look forward to showing it to everybody in the next webinar. Until then, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you the next time.